Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So, as the title suggests, Josslyn has Valentine dead to rights on General Hospital. And I know a lot of people, I already read the comments, Josslyn's an idiot. Josslyn's not a good WBS agent or whatever. And she's bad and she's terrible. Well, she somehow managed to sit there and get the drop on Valentine, the so-called superstar. So that's saying something. Now let's sit there and get in the roll call. Let's get this started. Cherry Ice Cream's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Dollar-Max is in the chat. How you doing tonight? My gorgeous Queen Cat Lee's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Allison's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Sean is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Black Mom, Mr. GQ's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Ron is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Okay, I think that's everyone. Jay Blue's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Okay. Cherries, good to have you here. So, got a lot to talk about. It's been like, okay, it's not really been 2 days, but lots happened in 2 days. So, as always, we're going to sit there and talk about it. Hit the like button as you're coming in. Yeah, and listen, and obviously I'm going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. So now Ron has a ton of questions about Days of Our Lives, so I'll be bouncing around. Monique says you would think Valentine being so strategic and being 2 steps ahead, he should have known someone was going to find him. Yes. I'm doing good, Black Mind. I had the day off, so very happy about that. Slept longer than I wanted to, but it was good. Hope you had a good day too. Sean says I'm behind. Who is the girl chasing Brooklyn found? I'm doing good, Allison. Like I said, I had the day off, so I'm very happy. See, it seems like a random stranger so far. She seemed like she's hiding something. Well, she seemed like she was hiding something. 1 second, Ron. Table says I finally caught up with. Yes, hopefully that's going to play a part. I feel like that may play a part in the future. Well, soon. Yeah. Yeah, no, she's not part of the main cast, Sean. She was just some random woman that Chase and Brooklyn found on the floor, who they thought was a dead body. They thought she was a dead. That makes sense. Did you see the article revealing the two? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Like, seriously? It's like asking me, like, what did I thought of the sky being blue? I didn't really think much of it, Ron. You know, I didn't really have much thoughts on it. I didn't really care about Tate, and you know, Ari's just kind of tired of Holly being mean and nasty. But I wasn't like, ooh or ah or gaga about the scene. If that's I sit there and say that much. But no, I didn't read the article. I'll be honest, like I rarely. They even had a picture. Days is always giving their stuff away. They only had to wait until Friday. They only had to wait until Friday. Oh wow! I guess I'm kind of glad I didn't see the article then. This is kind of a good thing. Here's my thing with the girl with the tattoo, right? Her name was Dahlia. She seemed like she came from a abused relationship. She seemed like she came from an abused relationship. Chase and Brooklyn, when they found her on the floor, it was like, are you okay? Like, Do you want to go to the hospital and stuff? She's like, no, I just had low blood sugar. I'm like, you're pregnant. I'm pretty sure. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jay Blue. Laura is very naive. Sunny needs to let her know Sitwell is running things. If she doesn't fall in line, Laura, I feel like every day Laura finds. Oh, okay, that was kind of way too much. I feel like Laura always finds a way to disappoint me. Like, hers that they're telling, Willow to not, let anyone kind of run the show and to kind of be your own woman. I'm like, Laura, how is that working out for you? Yeah. How is you like? I don't understand. Like, one second, Ron. It's like, and this is my whole thing. People are sitting there saying, "Well, Laura should be fighting back and stuff like that." And I'm just like, well, if Laura, I'm like, I'm just tired of her sitting there coming at Ezra like, oh, how do you feel about being how do you feel about being Sybil's lapdog and this, that, and the third? I was like, girl, what have you done to sit there and try to get yourself out the situation? Have you called the WSB? Have you stopped there and tried to talk to the cops or anything like that? You haven't done a goddamn thing. And I'm just like, the thing with Ezra is that he's a realist. He realized that he's screwed. He realizes that he's in too deep. He just has to go along with it. And I'm not sitting there saying like Laura should sit there and follow suit, but like this whole defiant attitude without any sort of actions being taken just seems annoying. Naran says, "What's your take on when Deacon and Shirley were asleep?" Oh no, God, no. I honestly tell you the truth, I I I I, I generally cannot stand intimacy scenes. No, what the hell? Did you want her to? No, no, Ron. Ron, I'm not for this whole Lee and Sheila to be hooking up into being an idol. It's just not interesting to me. Here's the thing, Cat Lady. I find those scenes to be very cringy and just an honest waste of time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I find those scenes to be an honest waste of time. I will sit there and say that I feel bad for Sheila. I feel like it was so out of pocket for Deacon to be like, well, while I'm sleeping with her, I'll be thinking about you. I'm like, what? What? I mean, listen, I'm not a huge fan of Sheila, but like, nobody deserves to be sitting there. Yeah. Listen, Cat Lady, I don't need to watch that stuff for me personally. I have a whole library of, well, technically I have two libraries, but like, I don't watch soap operas to watch love scenes. They just don't work for me. Um, I saw Days Again Monday and yesterday and skipped every scene but Steph and Owens. Jeremy and the pod stuff, bless Stephanie, apologize to everyone else better as well. Well, I mean, Kelly, what do you want me to sit there and say? Want me to lie? You know, here's what I will sit there and say about Owen's character. If you didn't like him, if you didn't like, I forgot what was his character's name on General Hospital. which I actually liked him on General Hospital. If you didn't like him as Peter August, you're not gonna like him as Owens Ken, because like he is a he's just as over the top as he was on General Hospital. So listen, I was happy that she apologized. In my version, she would have got on her knees and actually apologized properly. They just don't do anything for me, Alice, and they seem very cringy and a waste of time. Like, and here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, I know most women like that stuff, and I'm not here to knock that. It's just like it doesn't do anything for me. It's just like they don't, Jerry. They really don't. They really don't do anything for me. And that's the funny thing, Monique, right? This is what I find so funny about their scene, and especially today. Sheila was like, listen, my staff, my waiters told me that you and Deacon were together. Thank you, Jay Bloom. Yeah, it was very cringy. Um, she was like, yeah, my staff, my waiters told me everything. I love B&B most days, but like it was one of those things where it's like y'all being like mad. Well, particularly Deacons being mad disrespectful. It's like you doing this shit out in the open, all up in her face, with the staff just going back and forth. And while people sit there and say, "Oh, the staff doesn't love Sheila," I saw the way that they embraced Sheila when she came back from getting her pedicure. In all reality, if I was a waiter or whatever working there, I'm pretty sure I'll be gossiping to other people, being like, "Hey, isn't what is Deacon Smith there being so close to Taylor for? Why do you look like they're in this like?" No, Ron, I wouldn't. Um, I'll be sitting there thinking there's something that's going on, and I'm pretty sure that conversation would get back to her. And Hope is just an idiot. Yeah, and here's exactly, Monique. And listen, I don't knock people out like that. It's just you know, it's not really my thing. You know, I've always fast forward through those scenes. Yeah, those scenes. Well, yes, that's another thing, though, Monique. Another thing, yes, absolutely. Um, but you know, but yeah, Hope is also an idiot, and yeah, I saw um their feed comes up on my YouTube page and where they're going to be going. Does Hope does Hope and Agent will with wanting her Hope and Agenda will with wanting her father with Taylor. Um, that's interesting, Ron. My whole thing is yesterday's scene where one second, very quick. Yesterday's scene seemed to be so ass backwards, right? Because Steffi was like, listen, I can't have you keep um encouraging this whole romance. You know, you're putting my family in danger. It kept going for a little bit, and then finally she got the message. Right? She was like, you know, listen. No, that's all good, Monique. Finally, she was like, okay, you know, listen. I'm not gonna continue to encourage my dad to be with your mother. Yeah, I'm not gonna encourage her to be with his wife either, but I'm not gonna sit there and encourage this romance. But then for the rest of the episode, that's all she kept doing. That's all she kept doing was sitting there saying, all she kept sitting there doing was saying how much they need to be together and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, you just said in the last scene you were gonna essentially drop the conversation. And then she just kept going. What's good, Queen of the South? How you doing tonight? And even today, she was sitting there encouraging her dad to sit there and be with Taylor. I'm like, you just told this chick yesterday you were gonna drop it. Like, did I miss something? Now, Spy Quick says the problem with love scenes on soaps for me is I don't like it if the characters I dislike or if they play music during the scene sucks. Oh, of course, Queen. So you don't okay? So you don't like love scenes when there's characters you don't like? Okay. Well, what do you mean you don't like if they're playing music during a? You know what? I'm not even gonna. That was that was my personal mistake. Okay, I'm not even gonna dig into that any further. Um, what's good, Eagle? Oh, you talk. You saw like the previews or something. He doesn't like the ambience of the love scenes. The music. I'm not okay. I got it. I was gonna sit there and ask why, but now I'm just like I don't want to know. What's good, Danny Bear? How are you doing tonight? No, Ron, I really didn't. All right, time to get more. That's a shame. I mean, me personally, I'd rather sit there and hear music than hear all the hissing and whatever else sounds that they plan on making. I'm like, nah, I'm good. But I usually, like I said, I usually fast forward through it anyway. Unless I'm watching it live, then I have to mute it at that point because I'm like, nah, y'all not. I was like, nah, y'all not gonna torture me with that shit. Monique says Phyllis got what she wanted, but at the expense of losing her kids and friends. She fired all the Newman employees because they were loyal to the Newmans. Now she's alone with no one. Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to look at any of that, say on Spider. But that's interesting though. What's good, Crystal? Yeah, Daniel's a loser. Let me take a drink and explain all that. Daniel's a loser. Okay. He is a unemployed bum, and you know, summer's a trip because she's sitting there talking about her legacy, this, that, and the third. I'm like, thank you, Sean. And you know what? It's a perfect time to sit there and tell you. So, long story short, now the app allows me to make the scenes longer. I've been testing it out today to sit there and see how long I can make those short scenes last longer. Um, I'm working on a new series and I kind of have to redo it now that the app allows me to make the videos longer. I don't know how long yet, but it's a lot longer than 9 seconds. So that's a good thing. Yeah, Sean, I was very happy about that. The only problem is that there's stories already made, and I can't re-edit those. Um, so those unfortunately are still going to be um, those are still going to be short. Oh yeah, no, I know, Eagle. I know. hmm I saw that too, Eagle. So yeah, thank you for letting me know. I know that's it's crazy because like there's some channels that are just literally just AI channels, right? Like they don't put anything live or pictures or anything like that. Like it's just a straight up AI channel, you know. And at least on my channel, you know what I'm saying? Like I actually do like live videos and whatever else. And I've been good so far. Have a good night, Jay Blue. I've been lucky because I've only did it like once a day. And so far YouTube hasn't pushed back. So I'm glad to hear that Marcos knows that his life is in jeopardy if his dad finds out what he's doing with Lucas. Yes, have a good night. He may be a loser, but what he said to Sharon did ring true. How long is that supposed to? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing. I feel like here's the thing. I get that she wants to protect her daughter's happiness and stuff like that, but she's not living in reality, right? She's not living in reality because Mariah has been essentially treating Tess like shit, right? And like Daniel said, how long is she supposed to sit there and wait, put her life on hold and everything for her? I get that she's looking out for her daughter, but like, that's not fair for Tess to have to sit there and thank you, Monique, thank you. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun to do. It's been a lot of fun to do. I particularly enjoy like the sci-fi stuff as well. So thank you, Monique. Um, season 2 is going to be really good too. So I'll definitely be putting that out as well, Monique. Go to, do you think Chase and Brooklyn will adopt? Yeah, Nicholas, I do. I do. I think it's well, it's actually really funny, Ron. I don't know because if she is pregnant, which I'm not even going to put that out there. If she is pregnant, it may explain her reason for leaving. It may explain her reason. No, I haven't, but I actually want to watch it though. I actually want to watch it on here. Like it's probably one of the reasons why at some point I will get Apple TV. That and Marnock. I want to sit there and watch Marnock also. I love sci-fi shows, so it's like, yeah, I definitely want to sit there and get it. You know, it is actually very weird to sit there and see what's good, Joe. It's very weird to see Rachel interacting so much with a 10-year-old with a 10-year-old kid, and even blackmailing her in the sense that it's trying to help. Um, and I'm pretty sure the actress that plays Rachel is leaving the show. And I keep forgetting the actress that plays Rachel is leaving the show. The actress that's playing Holly is leaving the show. Um, you got a lot of changes that's going on in this show. It is. I'm not gonna lie. It is. Yeah. Actress that plays Holly is leaving. The actress that plays Rachel is leaving. I'm not gonna go hard on you, Ron. Um, I'm not interested in that trio. That's all. Yeah, Eagle. I heard that the actress that plays Rachel is leaving. I think that somebody said that she's gonna be on another show or something like that. So she's leaving. I mean, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. I feel bad. It's kind of odd. Like I wonder why they would bring Lexi back on the show. So, if you've been watching Days so far, do you think that his acting? Do you think that he's overacting just like he did when he played Peter August? Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even know that they did a Little House on the Prairie reboot. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's not as bad. Listen, this is probably the most interesting part. This is probably the most interesting story that they had in a while. On Days of Our Lives, particularly with Stephanie. 'Cause I'm not a huge fan of Stephanie. I find a lot of her dialogue to be super fucking cringy. Oh, it didn't premiere yet. Okay. So yeah, I've always thought that Stephanie's character was just annoying and obnoxious and cringy. And you know what? Listen, since we're talking about days, this is something I do not understand. What is the name of Stephanie's book? I don't understand how Johnny was just like, we should publish this book. Didn't bother to sit there and like the names are similar. What is it called? One stormy afternoon or something like that. And Stephanie's book is called One Rainy Night. I would have been like, no, you're gonna have to scrap that title because it sounds way too close to Stephanie's title. Nobody you hired a fucking legal team and not one person on your legal team thought it wasn't a good idea. It's not only that was already a okay. Stephanie's book is called One Stormy Night. Okay, and what is Bonnie's book called? One Rainy Night or some shit like that. Nobody at legal flagged that shit like okay, well, because most people will sit there and read through it and make sure that it's not similar to another book or whatever. Johnny, you had one job. You had one rainy afternoon, one stormy night, one rainy afternoon. Yeah, because those two don't sound similar. Thank you, Danny Bear. I just, I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, that's a flag right there. The fact that you didn't bother to have anybody read that shit, like, really? So that's their plan. They're gonna sit there and sue for copyright or whatever, right? Johnny is so damn chicken shit of his wife that he can't even be bought. He can't even sit there and tell Chanel, you know what? I accepted that gift that my father gave for the baby. right? I feel like they can get away with it. That stuff and publishing, there are a lot of. I mean, I get it though, Legs. I'm sitting there saying like I feel like that would just be like like any person that's gonna sit there. Gladiator is such a good movie. I never watched that movie before. Never watched it. Um, I feel like at the very least that would just be a red flag. I feel like that would just be a red flag right there. You didn't bother to have legal sit there and check to make sure that there was no copyright infringements or anything like that. Like that's just wild to me. Look at Lashanta. Oh, that's what's up. Fucking love that show. I don't know what the hell they did with that movie, but I love that show. And that's actually very, very true. No, Ron, I don't. But I could be wrong. So, um, it's really crazy. Like so, Diane played um Lydia's mom, and then on the Vampire Diaries, she played Tyler's mom. Except for she wound up getting killed. Like she wound up getting killed off by Klaus. Um, I forgot what I was going to say. So yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, the crazy thing is that like Johnny and Chanel are going to be getting kicked out. I feel bad for the actors, but like, let me just put this out there. I'm not sitting there saying that I want Days of Our Lives to be canceled, right? But every time I sit there and think of these crazy shakeups, makes me wonder about the future of Days of Our Lives. And then I sit there and think, because I'm on YouTube and there's so many different soap people, so many soap reviewers or whatever. Makes me think about Dish and Days, right? Now most of y'all know who Dish and Days are, but I mean, heaven forbid, what happens if Days of Our Lives get canceled? Like what is Dish and Days going to sit there and do? I know there's a podcast or there's a channel on YouTube um, where they still talk about passions. To this day, this group of people, yeah, that sounds awesome. I wish I cared. I don't, but you know, it sounds great. That Abby's coming back. I mean, it'd be a hell of a time for her to sit there and come back. Which, by the way, um, I know Sean is that they're leaving soon. If you're in the chat and my members are in the chat, I got a fun Saturday plan. I got a fun Saturday plan. I'm not saying it won't happen, but Days has so many major cast shakeups and has had super popular characters leave. This is not as big an issue as you might think, especially with these four. Delmex, you're awesome. You are. I'm gonna get on that in a second. But yeah, I want to sit there and say it now in case the alcohol starts to get to me. But I have a fun stream this Saturday. You already know about the stream that's coming this Sunday, but I have a fun stream this Saturday. I will black Abrabas because he's. Oh wait, if Days of Our Lives get canceled, I will block Abrabas because he absolutely Sean because he was responsible for Passions getting canceled because Tabitha had a baby named Endora. You know that's that sense of humor that I miss. Okay? That's that sense of humor that I miss, Ron. But that's the thing, though, Sean. Jerry Jackson was the man back in the day. Jerry Jackson was the fucking shit back in the day. Let's be real. We had we've had super couple characters leave. I'm talking equivalent of Sonny and Carly leaving GH. No. I know you are. I know you are, Dolmax. I know. I know. And you know, here's the thing. I know that you're ready, right? I know that you're ready. Um, and here's the thing, Dolmax. I'm not sitting there saying that I want the show to get canceled. I don't. Um, I just look at it and just makes me wonder. It makes me worry a little bit. You know, it was a great story. Yeah, and, you know, like I said, Sean, I've said this multiple times. It was one of my personal favorites. I just, it just makes me a little nervous. That's all, though, makes me a little nervous. These people, these people once fired what? These people once fired John and Marlena. I repeat, they fired John and Marlena. That's like firing Luke and Laura. Oh my goodness. Well, absolutely, Allison. Oh no, I know what you meant the first time around. That is insane. Wow. Okay. All right. You know, here's okay. Here's my counter whatever Dominics is that when they fired these people and the major shakeups and stuff like that, they were on network television. They're on network television. No, it's not that though, Dominics. They were on network television when they got fired. They're on they're on streaming. And so like that's pretty much where the hiccup and everything like that comes from. They're on streaming now, you know. You know, Hunter, I'm not gonna lie. Um Victor is losing his goddamn mind. Seriously, this mofo is out here kidnapping people left and right, or at least threatening to the world that he's kidnapped. You know, he's threatening to kidnap people left and right to get back his company. It's just, you know, listen, I would definitely sit there and say it's more than an experiment at this point. I think when Steve returns, they will hit the reset button on Jason and do what? Like make him a better character? Domax says I get you, but you have to consider they had a big writer shift. They always purge characters when they shift writers. We only had the characters this long because they had to finish the stories. Okay. Well, Sean, I hope so. I do. Um, LaShawn says, Joy will come back to days in April. That's good. That's a good question, Sean. She said she didn't renew her contract. And, here's the thing, Sean. I want to know how you feel about if Eden McCoy is out. You have a point. You have a point, Dominic. I will. Yeah, you have a point. You have a point. No, you're not being difficult, Dominic. Listen, you have not been difficult since day one. You're not difficult now, so you're good. And I like hearing your perspective and everything like that. So, oh yeah, okay, all right, interesting. Okay, yeah, it would suck. No, Dominic, you're not being difficult. Half my thing. Yeah, well, one of the things I really love about doing this whole streaming thing is to let the people in the chat know that they're a part of the stream. So you're fine. How you doing, Amber? I'm not to go through this later on. Okay. Well, anyway, um, no, that's good. Listen, days Days of Our Lives is an interesting show, right? Like, listen, my favorite is GH, right? But I love watching the other soaps. I love the different perspectives that they bring, right? They may not always necessarily be on par with GH, and sometimes for that day they may actually surpass GH in an episode. Um, One second, Ryan. They may actually want to surpassing GH in an episode. So I would love for Days of Our Lives to continue on the show. Days of Our Lives to continue doing what they do. There's just certain things that they do that I feel like it holds them back from being like, okay, we're gonna be better than GH this year. We're gonna really knock it out the goddamn park. Ryan says, how do you feel about Joy and her mother Nat? Well, I don't really give a shit about her mother. I find her mother to be annoying, but if Joy comes back, that could be good for Alex because I really didn't like the fact that she just, skipped town with his child and just didn't say anything for reasons unknown. So I would love for them to resolve that. I'm annoyed that it took them over a year for them to do that, but that just made sense in their eyes. Days does things that keeps them from greatness, and I don't mean, yeah, okay, cool. Bringing back people from the dead is not exactly ideal. Hell, even General Hospital was getting flack with that with the whole Nathan and Britt thing, right? JH, I feel like they can kind of get away with it for a little bit because like they have been like really kind of like dominating in a sense with the other soaps. No more back from the dead, no more kidnappings. But the kidnappings was definitely keeping it interesting. But like, what Danny Beer, what kind of stories would you want them to show if they didn't do kidnappings and Back from the Dead? But the kidnappings is grounded. The Back from the Dead, that's like, listen, I can watch my passions for like supernatural stuff. I know Days used to do that, That was their thing. Or like they kind of need to stop doing that at this point now. That's something that people have always complained about. Promising more love and family storylines, they're failing. Ooh, love and family. Wowzers. Um, hmm. Sierra, Ben, Claire. See, I wasn't around for the first Claire that was there setting people on fire, but like I was there for the second Claire, you know? And I get it. There was things that need to be shuffled around because let's be honest, they had a bad EP or very shitty person that was running the company and essentially ran off a lot of the good actors. What's good, CK? Ah, okay. All right. That's fine. That's fair. They're just moving slower. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of crazy, when we really stop and think about it. Um, well, Ron, I never really cared for Jerry Prentice, so I can't agree to that. He was, well, to be honest, he didn't even really seem like a good actor, so he wasn't an interesting character. He didn't seem like a good actor, so no. Sophia should have been gone. I mean, no offense. Friday. Sean, I'll sit there and see you Friday. So yes, have a good night, Sean. I'll sit there and see you on Friday. Well, Sean, Steve and Kayla should be sitting there apologizing to Jeremy on their knees. The proper way to apologize. Of course, Sean, and thank you for always coming through, your support and everything like that. I really do appreciate you. So seriously, Sean. Filmex says the 90s was a lot of craziness, but they still made sure to keep the family in proper characterization. Now, characters just do stuff for plot. Yes, thank you, Sean. You have a great night. I'm not gonna lie. There is one point in there where Claire is like, you have to always seduce men to like get your way and plot this, that, and the third. And Audrey was like, yo, listen, she pretty much like women that look like her don't have to do any sort of seducing. And I was like, you know, she has a point, Claire. It was like, she has a point. Women that look like Audrey does not have to really do any sort of seducing. They just have to fucking stand and look pretty. Say a couple of syllables, and that's pretty much about it. Um, Honestly, tell you the truth, I think Claire got bigger things to be concerned about. I mean, I know she didn't come from money, but like she seemed like she's enjoying a Newman lifestyle which Victor is like kidnapping people left and right to sit there and make sure that he keeps. Even when Marlena was possessed by the devil, they had years Marlena being broken down mentally and emotionally before it happened. It was a build up as a fall from grace type of story. Yeah, it's. I just, here's the thing. I'm upset that Kyle decided to go back to her. That's what annoys the shit out of me. I'm like, Broski was actually doing good. I was actually respecting him. Then he just decided to take his little ass feet, his little ass toes, and just step 10 toes back. But it's crazy though, Max. Cause like you've been watching it from jump, right? Um, I think I've only been watching the show for like 5 years. I've been watching it for 5 years because crazy. I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, and it was my second year that people was like, "Oh, you should watch Days of Our Lives. You should watch Days of Our Lives." And it's crazy because like my version of Days of Our Lives looks a lot different than your version of Days of Our Lives when you used to watch it. I got to see a little bit of that during the last Blast crew. No, no, but I'm saying though, like you watched it during a different time, though, Max. Like we're watching the whole Jerry Jack story, and that was like what 2008 or something like that. And I've been watching General Hospital since I would sit there and say 2000. I would say 2000 because I watched One Like to Live for like 2 years or whatever. But even watching Jerry Jacks and the hotel thing or whatever, right? General Hospital looked different back then. This is when Laura Wright was on than it does now. You don't have those ensemble umbrella storylines that you did back then, right? So I imagine, even just watching the whole Paul Mendes story, the days of our lives looked a lot different back then than it does now. You have had heart behind it. The Metro Court was good because they had emotion there. Yeah. Yes, exactly, Dan Bear. So we're rewatching that, right? And besides Sebastian just being the fucking man. Listen, Sebastian is the man if he's Jerry Jacks or if he's Michael Michelson on the Vampire Diaries. But like that was such an umbrella storyline, you know. Having Carly sit there and try to perform some sort of surgery on Robin because Jerry decided to just shoot her. And, Jax pissed me off, right? Because Jax was like, and I'm not gonna really get too much into this, but Jax was like, "Oh well, he only shot Robin to sit there and keep the others in line." I'm sorry, did you really just sit there and say that your brother shot somebody to keep the rest of the hostages in line? He made sure it wasn't a fatal hit. Like, what about Alan? Did he cause him to have a heart attack to sit there and keep the other hostages in line? Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, not to get into that, but like the point is that like, what's good, Kaiwan? I don't know, Ron, but I'm not exactly really missing him. I mean, here's the thing. I get it. He's family and everything. I don't know what you're saying, Kaiwan, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not even gonna sit there and try to read whatever it is. Hulu? Yes, I am watching season 2 of Paradise on Hulu. Thank you. No, Ron, because she is too old for like the 70,000th time. She's too old, Ron. Yes, he can't. Like it was a good story. Um, and here's the thing. I get it. I know they had budget and stuff like that. Like even when I live and all my children, whenever they did their umbrella disaster stories, they had a budget. You know, they were able to sit there and have more people on, have more the actors on, sharing screen time. I think the last time that Days of Our Lives did something like that, the story was called what was it called? Days Disaster or Disaster Days? Disaster or some shit like that. But it was an umbrella ensemble story. Now I didn't watch that story. I don't know exactly when it was, and depending on when it depending on when it is, I'm pretty sure we probably couldn't watch it maybe. But they don't have that anymore, and it's a shame. You know, I don't know how we got away from talking about the current stuff, but um, how did you even write? I don't even begin to know how to answer that. All I know is I see one big ass hashtag. Okay, Danny, let me ask you a question. We sit there and say that Days of Our Lives need better stories. Like, what do you mean by that? Right? Like, what? Okay, like, what kind of stories would you like to sit there and say? I'm taking a page out of Jonathan's book for a hot minute, but I mean, granted, yes, we all sit there and say that. Like, even on General Hospital, it's like, you know, Sonny and Justine. Apparently, they finished knocking boots. They had a love scene that, thank goodness that they managed to sit there and skip, because well, I wasn't going to watch that. But like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna sit there and say this, even though somebody in Kyrie's stream said this. I guess it was their attempt at humor, and it was meant to saying that Justine is a wannabe Brenda as some sort of joke, which I'm just like, Brenda and Justine are nothing alike, like not even closely remotely alike. Yeah, I'm waiting for that answer. Tracy Steves, how you doing tonight? Happy Wednesday. It's a joke about Jays. They call the okay. So yeah, you and that's the thing, Domex. You were in his stream. It was Saturday. I guess it was just a joke that just didn't really seem like it worked. Like every now and then, the joke is that Jage likes to stick a pretty brunette next to Sunny and see what. Oh, okay, all right. Well, okay, now I understand it. Now I understand it. I still thought it was actually pretty stupid, but sure, Ron. Of course I am. Really? I mean, was they really sat there calling like? I mean, yes, Ron. Obviously, I hope that Phoenix Tremaine gets better. Like, somebody's still sitting there talking about it, but it just it seemed like a stupid joke. Maybe I just I don't have the sense of humor that other people have. This seemed okay, whatever. Um, no, I'm not gonna lie. It seemed pretty fucking stupid. Like I'm not even gonna sit there and sugarcoat it, but um, okay, all right. I understand where at least I understand where the meaning of the joke came from. Danny Bear says if they wants to do a mystery, they shouldn't have make everyone stupid. Keep up the suspense. Then Zern and on Jeremy as Stephanie Stalker so much made it easier to see he wasn't. They should have more suspense. So we, yeah, exactly, yes, and I agree with that, Danny Bear. Oh, oh, okay, all right. Always gotta sit there and check up on Vanessa and see how she's doing. Always gotta sit there and check up on her. I used to joke that Nina was just blonde Brenda with a couple of extra splashes of crazy. Always gotta sit there and see what Vanessa's doing. Like it's interesting. Like sometimes I like to sit there and see what Scotty's doing or whatever. But you know the thing is that's really crazy. So like if I wake up, well heaven, heaven that I wake up. But like, I check on Instagram or whatever, and then they're like, oh, um, Ken Schreiner is in a new movie or Ken Schreiner is in a new TV show or whatever. Like I remember Roger Howard was in the episode of The Flash. And like you know, Soap Dish or whatever was there on my damn Twitter feeds and saying he's in a new show or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad he's still working. The Almania stuff with Dimitri and Leo would have been more fun if they were actually looking into stuff instead of just in the room. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You are 100% correct. I gotta sit there and check out your page. I gotta sit there and sleep on your page. Look me sideways. Let me check on and see what you're doing. Oh shit, you got a new video. That's what's up. And no, that makes sense. Thumbnail. Listen, that's what's up. That's what's up, Danny Bear. That's what's up, Danny Bear. I don't think that people understand just how hard that is actually. That's what's up. How is your birthday? Wait, Danny, but your birthday is today? The fuck? I mean, I don't follow you on Facebook, so like it didn't pop up or whatever. I also had to apologize to Kyrie because like I did technically steal his thumbnail and kind of his idea. I mean, listen, he put out his thumbnail and his whole thing way earlier than mine, so the way for them. Well, yeah, absolutely, Tracy, Steve. And people in the comment section was there saying that yesterday, like, you know, um, oh, it's next month. Okay. People are sitting there saying that's going. People are sitting there saying she's going to die and the baby's going to live and they're going to sit there and adopt the baby. Like, and it played out exactly. It played out exactly um, how people predicted. And see that kind of brings me to my question though. Are soap operas getting predictable, or have people just been watching it so long that they're kind of skilled at like guessing the next or guessing storylines, or is it both? But that's the thing, though, Cherry. Is it obvious to you because you've been watching it for so long, or is it obvious to you because they're just predictable? Probably a bit of both, right, Dolometics? Probably done on purpose, Tracy. Yes, but yeah, exactly. And like Dolometics said, yes, Cherry. Like it's predictable, but we've been watching. So I remember the first couple of years when I was watching soap operas. And I was just watching General Hospital. Like my favorite character was Sunny, right? I used to get to a point where it's like I knew what Sunny was going to say before he said it because I got so used to his character, his mood, how he would react. Just like he would have scenes with Jason, he would have scenes with Carly, and you just knew what he was, or at least I knew some of the stuff he was going to say before he said it. Because she was annoying, Ron. Because she was annoying. So that's my reason. But that's the thing, though, Cherry. Like you just know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think now it's like I've been watching it so long that you can kind of just see where stuff is gonna go. Well, yeah, Allison's actually interested. I've been watching. Well, I mean, I've been watching soaps since 1998. But I've been watching General Hospital since the year 2000. With writing, you sometimes have to try to subvert expectations. Sometimes when I'm writing myself, I rework a plot a couple of times until I come up with the least predictable path. That's interesting. You might do the baby storyline with a plot uh, twist, maybe bring the father in. And that's the thing, Tracy. So, like, the big assumption is that Dahlia was abused, right? Like when they checked on her and stuff like that, Brooke was like she had internal bleeding, right? Now, granted, if she had internal bleeding before and she was unconscious, made you just didn't think like. Like there's a point where they're in the room and they're examining her, and they talk about internal bleeding, and Liz and Lucky look at each other like they know that this had something to do with some sort of violence that was towards them. Yeah, yes, Allison, same, same. Casey says it's the same thing with Jordan, two ways. It can go. She is pregnant or she's about to be fighting for her life. Dave, do you think Brooklyn Chase will consider raising? Yes, absolutely, Dave. I I'm suspecting. I'm suspecting. I'm super guessing on that. That seems like that's the way the story is going. So, what's good, Dave? I feel like that's where it's going. That's funny. We didn't even talk about Beyond the Gates, which I mean, has anybody actually watched Beyond the Gates lately? I'll save my comment until I see how many people actually watch Beyond the Gates. Not much really happened on Beyond the Gates. Yeah, and Cat Lady says, "Big old nope." They pretty much are telegraphing the imperialist storyline, though. This dude better be one bad ass dude. I just, I don't know. Here's the thing. This whole fight between Chelsea and Kat just seems so. I mean, listen, I don't want the show to get canceled. I don't. I do find it to be a chore to sit there and watch it. Um, there are so many obstacles just to trying to watch that show. Um, but like the whole Cat and Chelsea argument is just like the whole like breaking up for drama just seems so fucking dumb. Like the way that Cat just the way that Cat came at Chelsea was just so fucking stupid. Um, it seems so over the top and so unnecessary. And I'm not gonna lie, listen, some of the people that I've seen have commented in the clips that I've seen have just come across as so fucking retarded. I know you want to review all the souls, but have you thought of it? No, no. And that's the thing, don't like, and I get it. I'm not just saying it's a chore and everything like that, but it's also content, right? Like it's not actual chore. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the show is ugh. But I love watching it, and like I said, if nothing else, it's for the content, right? For the content. So I don't really see myself taking a break from watching the show. Well, one for the content, and two, I started watching the show. I don't I don't like the idea of just quitting, you know. Um, like no, and it's honestly maybe I'm kind of over exaggerating a little bit. Like it's not the worst, right? I'm kind of exaggerating a lot. It's not great. Like it's not great, but it's not like the worst. So I was talking to a patient and she told me why she watched it. I was surprised, but it explains the demos a little. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, CK. I mean, the dude's not walking around with a cane anymore. He seems like he's up moving around. I'm like, bro, your leg has been bothering you to the point where you look like you need to go back to the hospital. Now you walking like Charlie from the Charlie Factory, just like no cane, just walking around. I'm like, broski, how high are you? Kat just invites herself to Naomi's house. She was a sweet elderly, and she pretty much says she watches it for the hair and pretty clothes. That's why she likes it. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's on some next level shit. But I mean, that's the thing, though, Max. Like, here's the thing. I'm not. Well, there was this one person that said something super retarded, right? You know, when Kat was up there going at Chelsea and stuff like that, and somebody was like, "Oh, she needs to be upset with her daddy for bringing all this mess in the first place." I'm like, nobody wants to sit there and see Kat constantly bitching, complaining to her her dad about something that he did X amount of years ago. She already did that. We went there and that, but like, I don't know. Some of the people that I've seen comment just and granted, listen, here's the thing. I get the demos. I get I get why some people watch. And I can sit there and say it, but it would require me taking another drink. Like if we're gonna be honest. And you and I both know why some people choose to watch the show. And it I thought about this shit before I actually started streaming, right? As I was sitting there watching it, just wondering if I should say it. Delmex knows what I'm thinking, but wondering if I should say it. I think she's over her parents being divorced. Um I just feel like honestly tell you, I feel like she's jealous of Chelsea. She's jealous of Chelsea. It's an old school it's an old school product again, so talking so it's a throwback with more modern clothes. That's true. But don't Max, you know exactly where I was about to sit there and go with that. And you know what the sad thing is that yeah, I'm saying it. I can sit there and say it out loud, but it's not like most people is not gonna. It's not that it's not true, and even on a subconscious level, I feel like some people will prop it up more than what it actually is. I don't know if she's jealous of Eva. I know she's jealous of Chelsea because Chelsea's actually moving forward with her relationship, and she's not moving. And with Tomas, and they're kind of just in this still dating phase, while Chelsea is actually ready to sit there and taking the next steps towards life. I mean, she's jealous. She's jealous. Eva. I mean, the only thing I could sit there and say that she's jealous of Eva is maybe for the fact that Eva, like, with Kat has always been known to be associated with money and status, right? And that's how people, like, she's only good as far as being rich. Eva came from nothing. Yeah, she's rich. She has money now, but Eva came from nothing, and yet people still like her. I feel like Kat is only good as far as just being rich, maybe on some sort of level. Like I'm not gonna lie, it kind of reminds me of like a Hey Arnold. It kind of reminds me of a Hey Arnold episode. I know what you mean, but it's just a throwback. I think should have all looked into what storylines that her writers actually wrote during her tenure on other shows and this show's tracks. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't know. I feel like every time I'm watching Beyond the Gates and I'm watching a certain scene, I'm just like, part of me is just, I'm always not there looking at some of these scenes. I'm like, yep, this is what Michelle Valjean thinks is entertaining, and I say that throughout like their most annoying scenes, right? Like any scene that involves Vanessa or Leslie just going on and on. Even the scenes with Ashley, I'm just like, yep, this is what Michelle Valjean thinks is actually good. This is what she thinks is entertaining and everything. And I'm just like, and the thing is, like, I have nothing against Michelle Val. Other than her creative, other than her, other than her writing style, what she thinks is entertaining, and I'm just like I don't have anything against her personally. I would never sit there and come at her personally, but professionally, with the shit that she writes, I'm just like Leslie is always way too much. Leslie can be in one episode, and it just feels like it just end. It just doesn't end. Is old school sitting down around talking and looking pretty storytelling. What's good, Tanya? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like whenever I'm sitting there watching, and maybe I'm just exaggerating a little bit, but I feel like whenever I'm watching a show, and it's like I'm 27 minutes into it, I'm just like, it's like I start to feel better when I'm like in like the the 40-minute mark. Um, but I don't know. I just That's the thing. Sometimes I'll be on a bus or whatever, and I've seen other people watch the show like on their phones and stuff. I'm just like, part of me is like, I'm happy because people are still watching soap operas. This one woman, she was watching on her phone or whatever. Like, I think it was like the day before episode, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. Like, people are watching the show. Um, yeah, I'll sit there and say that. So you feel like the show is not moving fast enough? Okay. I feel like there's just certain roadblocks in the show, but I don't know. Sometimes it makes me start to wonder, like, is my opinion a little skewed or whatever? You know, because I already have a negative opinion about the show. And granted, characters like Vanessa, like even today's episode, I was sitting there watching it, and like the dialogue between Vanessa and Nicole just seemed so fucking obnoxious. It was like, oh my god. It was like this thing just lasted forever and wouldn't stop. You're a GH action soap guy. It's not for you. If you're watching soaps back in the day when they had a bunch of GH and days, when they had a bunch on GH and days, would be your shows? I mean, it, I think it's more than just that, though. That's the thing, though, Max. I think it's more than that, though, right? Because, like, even when we sat there, we was watching clips of All My Children. Like the show is moving fast enough to be a soap. I feel like the show's moving fast enough to be a soap. But like even no, even All My Children, which isn't really like an action show or whatever. I felt like I was having more fun watching All My Children than I was watching um Beyond the Gates. That's the truth. I think for me personally, it's not so much the slow pace. It's the characters that are what's good, Jonathan? It's the characters that are just super fucking annoying. No, and that's true. But you know that's the thing though, like the clips, yes, the clips are short, right? But like it's not so much the clips. It's watching the scenes in the clips, right? Like for me, it it's the beyond the gate scenes. It's not even it's not even so much the slow pace. I find, and this is another thing, I find there are too many characters on that show that are just fucking annoying. It's not about the slow pace or anything like that, right? Because I can who's on the tube, Jonathan. It's not so much about the slow pace. This is and you know, and this is the thing. Maybe I haven't actually really done a good job as far as explaining myself. Because you know, you no. That's the thing. It's not so much the slow pace. That's the thing. That's the thing, Thomas. I never really sat there and had a problem with this with the pace of the show. In the beginning, I kind of did, but I think as the show moved forward, I think I started having a problem with the characters, right? And just yeah, the characters, right? Like even Haley. And I listen. Let me tell you something. I love looking at Haley. My goodness, that woman could be just fucking annoying. I can deal with slow pace if you have characters that are not that are literally annoying shit out of me. Um, no, Jonathan, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. You know, I want to be surprised. But yeah, it's the annoying characters sometimes, and just some of the characters can be fucking annoying. Like even Danny sometimes. Uh, sometimes I sit there listening to Danny. I'm like, can you like start drinking like decaf after a while? Because it's like you just like bring it down like at least a good 5 notches. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, no, Jonathan. Somebody else told me that it has a heavy feminist lens with no compelling male characters. Or I mean, that's true too. That's true too. Like sometimes, um, Nixon Falls thing. It wasn't great, but like it wasn't as annoying as watching what you call it. I think for me, it's starting to come down to the damn characters. Like Haley could be annoying, even Nicole sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I love looking at Nicole, but my fucking goodness, sometimes like even a conversation between her and Vanessa today, I was like, oh my god, was like I don't care. And maybe you know you're right. It does go into more of a feminist sort of So the lens is great that it's a woman's focus. So, but the male characters aren't great. So I'm not gonna lie, Domax. That is yes, you are absolutely fucking correct. Johnson says hopefully they give her a better storyline this time around. So, I said this before you got in, and I'll say this again. Hopefully they'll give her a better story because, um, I didn't like the fact that she took off out of town with the baby, didn't say anything. We're getting a resolution after a whole damn year, which is already annoying. So, granted, they did this with hope. They didn't give a resolution on hope or anything like that until after about a year or so when they did Beyond Salem. So they better do this shit right. And yeah, the male characters, and what's good, CK? Hopefully I said hi to you. I'm sorry if I didn't say hi to you when you first came in. Nicole is a little off-putting lately. I actually like Haley more now, but she's giving old school '90s soap vixen. I like her. I like her scheme, but I need them to stop pretending she is killing Bill. Chanel's not happy about a lot of things. Honestly, tell you, I'm not happy about Shane Chanel. I'm not happy about Johnny lying to Chanel because, oh my God, my wife is going to be upset with me and constantly bitch and moan in my ear about the fact that I took EJ's oh God, I can't with them. I really can't. And again, Jonathan, here's the thing. I feel bad for the actors, but as far as the characters go, they could not go soon enough. And here's the thing. I'm not meant to try and be negative Nancy, but I can't sit there and try. I'm not going to sit there and try to curve my feelings about how I feel about those two. I can't. And yeah, no, and just going back to Beyond the Gates. The male characters suck. Okay, the only characters that's actually worth watching, that's actually really worth a damn for the most part, if we had to sit there and put them in order, for me personally, I like Bill. And I also like Joey, right? I like those two characters because they have backbones. And, a couple of occasions, they have actually pushed back against what their female partners actually want. Like, they're not just yes men. They don't just sit there and just cave on to demand, you know? Um, most of the male characters in the show are just kind of like, I don't really care, right? I don't care about Kyle. I'm happy that what you call it. Oh yeah, no, absolutely, Dominic. I know sometimes that Jonathan likes to sit there and put a positive spin on some of the things that I say. Um, but I have to be real. I have to be real. I can't sit there and start like I'm not doing that. Like I'm not. Again, most of the male characters on Beyond the Gate suck. Gotta be honest. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Fucking, I'm just gonna sit there and say it. Some of the subtle racist comments don't go unnoticed, right? It's like I peep that, but I know how society is when it comes to certain things like that. They'll let certain things slide, and other things they will sit there and check. And I'm not exactly a huge fan of that. Kelly, you stop it. I don't even know why you even have that facial emoji, but you stop it. Jonathan, I've found that scene to be pretty well. Actually, no. I take that back. That's true, Don Max. Yes, I do. I still do like his character. Um, so they didn't fully ruin him yet. But it's just my whole thing when Charlotte was like, we got to sit there and we got to call up this whole relationship thing because of Rocco, and I was like, wait, not because Rocco is a reminder that you two are cousins, but because it would just be awkward and weird, like a fucking vibe. Like, are you serious? Yeah, and that's listen, I think that's the thing that just kind of that's another reason why I like to sit there and branch out. Allison says I don't want to watch that pairing, but I guess I will since GH is my only soap. And granted, listen, I to be fair, I have more time. Um, some people only watch their one soap because that's what they're used to. They only have time for one soap. And trying to watch another soap opera, a new soap opera, is all sorts of, weird and new. I think that's why I kind of like watching other soap operas because I don't have to sit there and focus on that, you know. And again, it's interesting and funny because like when I started doing well, when I that's not kissing. That's not kissing. That's eating somebody's face. Okay, here's the thing. We need to stop Smith there. We need to stop Smith there saying that Sonny is kissing women. Absolutely, Chris. They need to bring back passions ASAP. Sonny is not kissing women. He is eating their fucking faces. Okay, and listen, not that y'all from this world, but in certain in other aspects, they are that's acceptable. And here is not. Jonathan, I would fucking love it. They bring back as the world turns. Does as the no, it's got okay, Jonathan. What's the soap that has Annie Dutton in it? I mean, I would love for them to bring back as the world turns. Does what soap is Annie Dutton is on Guiding Light, right? Claire should have dumped Holden because he didn't want to be honest. Yeah, it has and has not been good. It's a former shell of itself. The characters are a former shell of itself. What you're able to do in a show has been a former shell of itself. Yeah, kind of like, but you don't want it back how it was. No, how was it? It was bad towards the end. What made it bad? Yeah, he doesn't need to listen. Sonny, he's yeah. I'm not even gonna sit there and go on that, but like I said, the point is that certain other areas that's acceptable, but he was CK. It's just like with that particular story, I'm like, you found out that he shot Robin. You sent there telling Carly, oh, well, he only did it to keep the other hostages in line. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, what? Hmm. Well, okay. So it probably it aesthetically it looked at. Okay. I still think it will probably be better than Beyond the Gates personally. I mean, yeah, it's. I can here's the thing. I can see the double edge. I can see the double edge with that. I can see that as in like the past is the past, and if you're not comfortable, you're not ready to sit there and tell your story, then you should understand that and respect that, right? Because then it goes into this whole like how much did you sit there and tell your partner, right? I understand not lying and not hold and being totally forthcoming, right? But then I get the whole listen, not everything you need to sit there and know about somebody's past. Like if it's some sort of painful memory, some sort of painful thing, I shouldn't have to be compelled to sit there and tell you that, you know? So it's a I get it. I can see both sides of it, I guess. Anna stuff was from the 90s. You watched the Anna stuff. You missed stuff like Reva, Sharon having a literal clone that was super aged into an adult. I don't know. I think I would have enjoyed it. I think I would have had more of an appreciation for it. It's like I think I would have had more an appreciation for like all my children. You know, I feel like I would have had more of an appreciation for all my children because for a while I loved watching More Like Love. Yes, More Like Live had its action and everything like that, but like it also had its characters and stuff. Not every episode was super action and stuff. I feel like I would have appreciated Guiding Light. Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that. Allison. I also do feel like I also do understand why he doesn't like Sonny and Jason. Like I think that's the one thing that I love about soap operas is that they're not black and white, right? This is why we have these soap chastity discussions and stuff like that because they're not black and white, right? Like I get where Danny Bear is coming from, you know. Like it doesn't technically affect the person he is now, you know. You looked into the art deal and you found nothing. Okay, well that's the point where you should have dropped it and accept the man for who he is today, not whatever stuff that was going on back then. Just because you're cool and comfortable sharing your truth and your history doesn't mean that other people are. So, One Life Love, listen, One Life Love was great back in the day, and to this day, I still always find it so out of pocket. Listen, I love GH, okay, but if One Life Love, from what I understand, had better ratings than GH, and ABC said no, fuck it, we're gonna sit there and pick GH. That doesn't really make sense to me business wise. Yeah, I mean Jack's had his issues. Jack's definitely had his issues. I will sit there and say. Did you watch All My Children Are Like to Live? No, I didn't. I've only seen it. I only seen it through clips. What's it called? What's it called? Jonathan. And that's 100% true. That's 100% true, Danny Bear. Bridge around the corner. Okay. Now, why would it be called Bridge Around the Corner? Like, I look at some of the soaps that they have now, Beyond the Gates, dealing with, people in the gates, behind the gates, and whatever, right? General Hospital, it's, well, the show called General Hospital. I mean, the hospital called General Hospital, right? One Life to Live, all that other stuff. So, like, why would it be called? Okay, all right. Well, yes, yes, for ABC, yes. It did deal with different class systems. That's very true. I mean, not to sit there and promote it because it's not like I'm getting paid for it, but you wanna truly see a show that that that's a little bit more well rounded. You watch Hollyoaks. Okay. Well, see, that's the thing, though, right? Like, it's like, yeah, General Hospital is ridiculous, but like, it's not the most ridiculous. Like, even out of all the five shows, as far as rich people, like you don't watch The Young and Restless, but like, damn near everybody on Young and Restless are fucking rich, pretty much, right? Everyone on The Young and Restless has companies and things of that nature. Like, it's like, as far as, like, if you think that General Hospital is ridiculous when it comes to its rich people, trust me, Young and the Restless is way, way more ridiculous. Way more ridiculous. Trust me. Johnson says it features many suburbia and urban elements and has a strong leading male character. Have you wrote this one out yet, or is this just something that you just thought of like a fan theory? Like, you know how you wrote the supernatural show Eastwick or something like that? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, did you write this out like you did with Eastwood Lane? I think you called it. Okay, yeah, that's why I felt like it was. That's why I felt like it was. Oh no, I get it. No, I get it. I think it's just for me personally because it's like, granted, yes, no, I get it. It's outlandish, but like, here's the thing: G just a little bit more grounded though, right? Like, Portia's a doctor, and she does a little bit above well, but she's not super rich. Curtis is does well, but he's not super rich, right? The Quartermains, like Michael and stuff like that. Um, the Correntos, obviously. Um, no, I get it. But like Liz, you know what I'm saying? Like some most people do well, but they're not like rich. Johnson says Beyond the Gates. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing I was saying. Like Days of Our Lives, they tend to more lean into that stuff. Johnson says since Beyond the Gates seems to be all over the place, to figure let's do something a little more grounded with a little more action. Liz isn't rich. Liz isn't rich. Lucas isn't rich. I guess you could sit there and say Carly's rich. There are a lot of rich people on that show. Johnson says, now imagine if that show aired on ABC, competed directly with Beyond the Gates. Then I think that on some level, people would have to sit there and think Beyond the Gates because they open the floodgates, you know, to a show, to a soap opera that's showing a lot of black people on the show, that's saying that it could be entertaining and profitable. I would sit there and say that much. Well, I mean, they're not, but they are in a sense, right? So like, Dante's not rich, but like he's kind of rich by association because Sonny, you know what I'm saying? Like Sonny is his father, and granted, yes, he wouldn't sit there and take money from his father, but let's be honest. Dante ain't worrying about hard times. Yeah, listen, if something good comes from Beyond the Gates, that'd be cool. Like seriously, they're not worried. They're not worried about no damn hard times. I mean, listen. Again, it's like on Young and the Restless when Adam got fired from Newman Enterprises. I'm like, oh my God, is Adam gonna have to sit there and worry about car payments now? Is he gonna sit there and worry about his house or paying the rent? No, he's not. He's a fucking Newman, right? Yeah, he's a Falconary, but like, come on, he ain't worried about money. I mean, hell, Olivia is rich by association. So like, even if he doesn't take a dime from Sonny, he ain't gonna be broke. That's the bottom line. I never watched Generations, so maybe that's something that we may have to sit there and check out. No, the Spencers are never rich, but I mean Laura's the mayor, so it's not like she ain't got no money. Um, but I would never sit there and say that they're a wealthy family. No. But I do have to work up at 4 o'clock in the morning. As fun as this has been, it's been super fun, of course. Um, I'm gonna end the stream. I'll be back on Friday. We'll sit there and chop it up about anything that happened tomorrow and the day after. Well, will be Friday. Um, Usual time, but I do apologize for being late. I had to sit there and wrap some stuff up, and I should have put it at 8:10 instead of 8 o'clock. But I'll try to do better on Friday. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming through and hanging out. Could have been anywhere, and y'all came here, so I always appreciate y'all. Have a good night, my gorgeous queen cat lady. Have a good night, cherry ice cream. Have a good night, Allison. Have a good night, Jonathan. Have a good night, Danny Bear. Check out Danny Bear's channel. Check out Cat Lady's channel. Luke never had a job. Yeah, probably the nicest thing I can sit there and reiterate. Johnson says, think about bridge around the corner idea for the show are welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night, Allison. Have a good night, Black Mom. Have a good night, Dolomedics. Have a good night, Hunter. Johnson says, join us next time for another edition of Soul Chat with Upper Bostic. Thank you, Jonathan. Have a good night, CK. Thank you for joining tonight. Always appreciate having you. Johnson says, can I hit the like button? Yes, hit that like button because it really does help. It keeps me in the algorithm. Um, and I will just sit there and say I have some new ideas for shorts that may not become shorts anymore, depending on how everything goes. Yes, definitely check out Dolomitic soaps. Dolomitic, make sure next time you come through, hit me up with that earlier, and I will definitely put it in the pin comment. You're not really missing much, CK. I'll tell you that much. There we go. But yes, definitely. I put Domex's link in the pin comment, so definitely check that out. It's not a shameless plug. Like your stuff is good, so you will never have a shameless plug ever. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's cool. Yeah, if you remember on Friday, I'll definitely sit there and put it up in the pin comment a lot earlier. So, I got you, Dolomedics. He is on episode 18, so definitely check out his stuff. Uh, da, 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 Let me see something. So at the end of the stream, I will sit there and leave his link to his page in my description box. So definitely sit there. I'll leave the link in the description box. My streams, so definitely check it out. It is, and it's. I know it's the thing, CK. I know it's for drama, but it's like, damn, it just seems so desperate to sit there and try to have a rift between them, and like that's the issue. Like, really? Oh, of course, don't like you. Have to, yeah, you have to thank me. Like you've been, like I said, you've been on my team for a while, so you know I always got you. Anytime I can support you, I'm definitely gonna do it without no hesitations. Uh, gotta sit there and put a bookmark to my thirst traps. But anyway, have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining. I will sit there and see you back on Friday, usual time. And yeah, thank you, CK. Listen, I don't promote people that I don't sit there and think is actually good or is doing some good shit. So I'm not just giving endorsements to everyone. Trust me, it's not. So Domex and stuff is good. You are well worth promoting. But yes, I'll be back on and also check them out. Um, link will be in the description box after the end of my stream. But yeah, I'll be back on Friday. Have a good night, everyone, and I'll sit there and see you on the next stream. Laters.